Hi friends, Jecca here, and I am at Ebenezer Swamp enjoying the beautiful nature, hearing all kinds of frog calls and cicadas, and I'm thinking about all the different animals that can be found here at the swamp. They all have unique adaptations to help them survive here. I wanted to learn more about animal adaptations, so I thought I would ask my friend Lauren, who is a master naturalist at the Oak Mountain State Park. She also has been working with birds of prey for many years, and so she's an expert on hawks and all kinds of animals and their adaptations. Let's go see if she can help answer some questions. All right, guys, so this week we are talking about animal adaptations, and to help us explore this topic even further, I have invited my friend Lauren and a hawk for our Ask the Expert interview. Hi, guys.
Hello! Thanks for having us.
I'm so excited, and thank you guys for meeting with us today. So our first question is, what is your name and where do you work?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Lauren Muncher. I'm the park naturalist at Oak Mountain State Park. So that's going to be located in the Birmingham area in Pelham, Alabama.
Awesome. And so who is our hawk friend here?
So this is a red-tailed hawk. We're still working on a name, but she is a permitted educator. She's permitted through the Fish and Wildlife Service to Scotty Jackson and myself. We are part of what we call Talent Education Group, and it stands for Teaching Appreciation and Leadership for Our Natural World. And we provide programs, bird programs for our Alabama state parks and beyond. So it's kind of my day job is a park naturalist, and this our kind of second thing. It's not really a job. It's just more we're educating for fun. So she's going to be our first educator as part of Talent Education Group. So we're still working on a name for her. So hopefully we'll have a name for her soon.
That is awesome. All right, so these next couple of questions will be kind of more for the hawk, sorry, Lauren,
Okay.
or just like hawks in general. So
Sure.
our first question is, what are some adaptations that the red-tailed hawk has that helps them survive?
Yeah, absolutely. So now what's really interesting about red-tailed hawks, these are some of the largest predatory birds that we have on the planet. So obviously not the largest, but they are pretty big. So now their size is going to be one. So over time, they've gotten bigger and bigger. And so they're going to be kind of an apex predator, the top of the food chain. Another thing that's going to help these guys survive is going to be their really sharp talons and their really sharp beaks. I'm going to try to get a little bit closer without spooking her. But these talons are really sharp and really effective in killing and capturing their prey. And then her beak is going to be a sharp, downward curved, hooked beak that's going to help to rip apart that prey and swallow it whole. So that's going to be something that over time they have adapted to really help themselves be the best predator that they can be. So that's going to be kind of some of their physical adaptations. Now, another one's going to be their eyesight. So this bird can see 8 times better than the best visual person out there. So if you were to put this bird on one end of the football field and put a book on the opposite end, if she could read that book. She can see things over a mile away that it's moving. So their eyesight, they can see in color too. So they actually see things a lot sharper and clearer than we see. They also see in the UV spectrum, so ultraviolet light. So what she's able to do is if she's hunting over a big open field, she can actually see the urine of a mouse fluorescing under ultraviolet light. And she can then find the mouse at the end of the urine trail, which is kind of gross and kind of cool at the same time. But that's something that over time they've adapted to where they're able to hunt really effectively and survive better than some other species.
That is amazing. I have to wear glasses and contacts, so I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, I know. Same here. Same here. They've also adapted really well to living in urban habitats. So that's something that a lot of animals aren't able to do. So you have a lot of animals that end up kind of disappearing from an area, whereas our red-tailed hawks, where they're used to open fields or, kind of more rural areas, when humans come in and urbanize an area, they're actually able to adapt very well. So they'll use power poles to perch and look for food. They'll use trees in people's backyards to build their nest. They'll use the opportunity for chipmunks, so a lot of houses have bird feeders, which attract chipmunks and squirrels. They use that opportunity to hunt for food. So they've actually adapted very well to human areas, which is also very cool and great for the species.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting that not like some animals have been able to adapt to urban environments because they've changed so quickly over time, you know.
Mhm.
So not every creature has done that, but I know like raccoons, they love
Right.
urban environments, but
Oh
that's not
yeah.
traditionally where they would have been found if you think about it,
Right.
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Our next question. So we're talking about the red-tailed hawk. It is the apex predator of their food chain in their food web. So my question is, do they ever get scared? And if so, how would we know? Like, what does the hawk do?
Sure, yeah. So every animal does get scared of something. There's always the bigger fish. So these guys actually can get pretty spooked by great horned owls. Great horned owls are actually going to be a stronger species in this bird. Now she has huge feet and really powerful feet that can capture and kill her prey. But a great horned owl, if it were to come into her territory around the same time that she was awake, she would get spooked and she would fly away, knowing that the great horned owl is actually going to outcompete her. Because they are stronger, a little more aggressive animals. So that would definitely spook, would spook her, and she would fly away. That's gonna be the biggest thing. If something's scared, it's gonna flee. So flight or fight. Most of the time, red-tailed hawks are gonna fight unless it's something bigger than them, and then they're gonna flight. They're gonna fly away. So. But yeah, humans are also another thing. So the greatest threat to our raptors are going to be humans because of car strikes and because of rodent poisoning, stuff like that. But most of the time, she's gonna poop now. Most of the time, it's going to be whatever the bigger predator is in the area.
That is so cool. If I were a mouse, how could I avoid being eaten or caught by a red-tailed hawk?
Never come out of your den. So camouflage is going to be the best thing. So you notice that a lot of our field mice are going to be that brownish tan color. That's going to be because they're trying to blend in with the dirt. They're trying to blend in with the woods, with dead leaves. So camouflage is very important for a smaller, more prey-like species. So you're going to try to blend in with your surroundings. So not staying anywhere. She might try to flap her wings again. Not staying anywhere that you're going to be seen is going to be the biggest thing, or only kind of hanging out in thicker wooded areas. But again, there's also things that hunt you in the woods, like owls and stuff. So you never know, but camouflage is going to be your number one.
Do hawks like sing songs in the morning like songbirds do?
Okay, so they do not. So now hawks, the red-tailed hawk actually has a really, what we call the majestic scream. So a lot of sports and commercials and movies will actually dub in the sound of a red-tailed hawk call for our bald eagles or golden eagles or any other bird that you see on TV. And it's going to be that characteristic raptor scream. So they don't really sing. Now, she will make some chirping noises, just her individually in the morning when she recognizes me as a food giver. She'll kind of chirp or make some noises, but they're really just going to make that screaming sound for mating season or for territorial calls. And then the babies actually have a food begging call when they're young that the parents can recognize. It's this kind of a high-pitched chirping call. But yeah, they don't really sing like a songbird. I imagine that, if she did, it would be not really attractive. but the scream that they do is actually really cool. So I encourage everyone to look up the red-tailed hawk scream. It's cool.
Nice. So this is like kind of a side note. I read that turkeys can distinguish against each other from their call. Like we have voices, and I would recognize your voice over anyone else's.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I didn't know that birds had that, like distinct thing, because when we think about it, animals in general, like they have a bark. It's a warning bark, not like they have a voice and they are talking.
Yeah. It's actually really cool. So every animal has their own distinctive call or scent or, or characteristic. I've worked with birds of prey for many years now, and every one of them has their own individual personality, an individual call, or their smell even, and that sounds kind of weird. Hawks smell very good. But yeah, it's interesting because they do have individual things. And, you think about these birds mate for life. So if she were to be in the wild and she were to find a mate, she would be with that mate, until one of them passed away or until both of them just got old and, and they were done breeding. So she's able to, if she were in the wild, she would be able to distinguish her mate from another hawk calling or even flying around. And going back to the UV spectrum, they're able to see things. That also means that their feathers glow or look differently under ultraviolet light. So she can look at another hawk and distinguish them from the way that they look. Whereas humans, we don't see the ultraviolet light, so we don't really see. There's a lot of all hawks kind of look the same. You really look at them. But if you were to hold a black light under her feathers, some of this would be red, some of this would be like an orangey pink color. There's other colors that these guys would see that we don't really see under ultraviolet light. And so that's another kind of interesting fact too, is that they can visually tell, distinguish between each other by that ultraviolet light.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
it
it's
makes
awesome.
you wonder like how much of the world we're missing out on that.
We're missing a lot. There's some, we can get into, there's some species that see colors that we don't see, and that's so hard to fathom. That there is this whole spectrum of color that we have no idea even exists. That some animals like the mantis shrimp, those guys can see just gobs of colors that we can't even fathom. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool. I love learning about animals and all the differences. So our final question is actually for you, Lauren.
Okay.
Since you are the expert. Our question is, if you could have any plant or animal adaptation, which one would you have and why?
Oh, that's a hard one. So it's probably a tie between flying, because I think that'd be really cool. Obviously birds, I love birds. But then the other one would probably be to be able to see colors that humans can't see. So being able to see in different spectrums, that would be pretty awesome. So probably a tie between those two. I think I'm just meant to be a bird. I don't know, but, I was a bird in another life. But yeah, probably flying or being able to see things that humans can't see. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be so cool. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
Yes. Is there like a way for us to visit or any events coming up?
Absolutely. So now not many events are happening right now, but you can come visit. So my office is at the Oak Mountain Interpretive Center, but I'm usually all around the park, but that's kind of where our hub is. But you can come to the center and see some reptiles and amphibians, which is really fun. We love to share those animals with everybody. We have a bunch of education animals we like to bring out and show people. The park is open 7 days a week right now for our summer hours. It's from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m. The Interpretive Center is only open because of COVID on Saturdays and Sundays from 9 to 5. But we're hoping that by next year we'll be able to open every day. You can visit the Alabama Wildlife Center, where is a rehab center for birds. We have our demonstration farm. There's a lot of stuff. Of course, our hiking, biking trails are phenomenal. We're the largest state park in Alabama, so come check us out. Come have fun with us. There's a lot to do there.
Thank you so much for your time. I know I learned a lot, and I am sure that our viewers did too. So thank you again.
I hope so. This was great. Thank you so much, Jack. It was good to see you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
I'm really glad that Lauren and her hawk got to sit down and talk with us today and answer some of our questions. I know I learned a lot. I really hope that when you guys get a chance, you can come out here to Ebenezer Swamp. There are hawks that live out here. There's all kinds of animals. You can also go to Oak Mountain State Park and check out the animals that they have there. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you guys have a great summer. Bye.